Hola! In this video I'm going to explain how to use the subjunctive, indicative, and infinitive with adverbial clauses. I know this can be a confusing topic. There are a lot of different expressions and different situations that you have to remember. So I've put together a chart that I'm going to show you to hopefully make it more clear what the different categories of phrases are and how to keep them straight. So here on this page we have a lot of the expressions and they're explained very clearly, but it can be kind of hard to look at all this and make sense of it. So we'll move on to the chart and I'll explain there how you can keep everything straight. So here on this chart I have the word subjunctive in the top left corner, and that means that on this chart the whole thing can be subjunctive. Everything on this chart can be subjunctive depending on the situation. And then within the chart I have a Venn diagram with infinitive on the left and indicative on the right. And that means anything inside the infinitive circle can be used with an infinitive, anything inside the indicative circle can be used with the indicative, and anything in the middle can be infinitive or indicative. And keep in mind, remember, that everything on the chart can be used with the subjunctive if it's called for. And I'll explain more in detail the situation there. On the left, in the infinitive circle, I have the acronym ESCAPA, and then in the center, the overlapping part, I have HD, and then on the right, in the indicative part, I have the acronym C-TEAM, and those are just the letters I put together to kind of keep it straight and make it hopefully easier for you to remember. So it might be a good idea to copy this down or get familiar with it so that you can have an idea or a general sense of what all the different expressions are, and when you're doing a test or practicing you can kind of try to remember what different categories there are. So here I have the chart filled out with all of the phrases that go with the acronyms. So we'll start with the side that says infinitive, and we'll look solely at the part that's in the ESCAPA acronym. So en caso de que means in case of, sin que means without, con tal de que means as long as, antes de que means before, para que means so that, and a menos que means unless. So in this acronym, all of these phrases are going to go with the infinitive if that K is not there. So it's in parentheses on most of those expressions, and if we don't have it, then you're going to automatically go with the infinitive. If you do have that K, you're going to automatically go with the subjunctive. So that's that side of the chart, ESCAPA. It's infinitive without the K. It's subjunctive automatically if there is a K. Now let's look at the center part, the overlapping part, and we have HD. So H is for hasta que, and D is for después de que. Hasta que means until, después de que means after. So these two expressions are both in the indicative and the infinitive circles. That means that if there is a K, you're going to use either the subjunctive or the indicative. So that depends on whether it's something that is going to happen, hasn't happened yet, you would then use subjunctive, or something that already happened or happens regularly. In those two options you go with the indicative. Now in this center part of the chart, just like with the infinitive side, escapa, hasta que and después de que, if I take away that que, it's not there anymore, it's just hasta and después de, then they're automatically followed by infinitive. So they behave in that way similar to escapa. It's just that with the que, you have two options, either indicative or subjunctive. Now moving on to the indicative side, that right-hand side of the chart, I have the acronym C-TEAM. And this stands for cuando, which means when. Tan pronto como and en cuanto, those both mean as soon as. Aunque means even though or even if, and mientras means while. So now if I'm looking solely at this right-hand side of the chart, indicative, C team, these expressions cannot be followed by the infinitive. They're all on the right side. They're not overlapping with infinitive. You can't put an infinitive after cuando, tan pronto como, en cuanto, aunque, or mientras. They have to be either subjunctive or indicative. And here you have to decide, is it something that has happened already or happens regularly? If it's one of those two options, it's going to be indicative. If it's something that hasn't happened yet, it's hypothetical or anticipated, then it's subjunctive. So you have to then decide, based on the sentence, is there a future tense verb? Is there ir, a infinitive saying something's going to happen? Is there something like I want to buy this when I get the money, something talking about wanting or waiting, looking towards the future and a hypothetical or anticipated event? So you have to look around in the sentence and get a clue from there to determine subjunctive or indicative. I'd like to also just do a quick explanation on aunque, because aunque is something that's a little different than the other expressions on this side of the chart. So aunque means even though or even if. So in this first sentence here, it means even though. Aunque tengo hambre, no como nada ahora, porque tengo que terminar mi ensayo. So that means even though I'm hungry, I don't eat anything, I'm not eating anything now because I have to finish my essay. So here it's indicative because it's a real fact, it's an established fact, and I'm saying even though this is true, I'm not doing what you think I might do. However, in the next sentence, aunque ella no esté aquí mañana, vamos a terminar el proyecto en clase. And this one is even if she's not here tomorrow, we're going to finish the project in class. So this one is not an established fact. We don't know tomorrow whether or not she's going to be there. It's a hypothetical, possible situation, and therefore we're going to use this subjunctive. So with aunque, if it means even though and it's an established fact, it's something true, and especially if it's in the here and now, today, right now, you know that something's true, then it's indicative. If it's something that's hypothetical, might be true, you're speculating, even if it rains tomorrow, I'm going to go to the park. That then would be subjunctive because it's anticipated or hypothetical or not known. So I just wanted to explain that really quickly because in class we didn't get to that and talk about it a lot. But hopefully this review overall gives you at least a chart and a way to organize your information to help you study and prepare for the quiz. So as you prepare for Friday's quiz, different things you can do are finish the pre-quiz if you haven't done so, retake it if you didn't get all the questions right and you want to try again, and then also review, make sure you know why everything there is what it is. You can also go to this practice handout that I gave out on Monday. It's handout 0411. And you can do practice A, or we've gone over in class, but you can review practice A, look at the answers. You can also go to practice B, which is on the next page. Here's practice B. You can go over that and look at the answer keys. And the answer key is located on Schoology. So take a look at that, make sure you know why everything is the way it is, and you can fit everything into a chart or some kind of framework so you know how to use everything. Okay, here's the answer key for practice A, and here's the answer key for practice B. So hopefully this video and everything I showed you here is helpful to you. It gives you a framework to organize everything and be prepared for the quiz. So study and make sure you know everything and those acronyms, the different phrases, what they mean, and how they're used with the subjunctive, indicative, and infinitive.